I'm actually impressed by Conor McGregor's enthusiasm to keep talking about the important issues here in Ireland. Yesterday, in a now deleted tweet, he went in on the new Minister for Education here in Ireland and absolutely scorched and destroyed her. And it was brilliant and important and something that we must talk about. But in the interest of fairness, we also must talk about the carry-on at the bare knuckle event.
Sorry I'm late, I don't give a fuck. I'm the big boss around here.
And the carry-on from the videos that we've seen coming out where he's arguing with the Paul brothers.
You kept your mouth shut, you did. I thought we were going to get the fight down when you get very quiet.
What did you think the best course of action was for that?
You were giving all this stain of this, stain of that. You f***ing control with the WWE as well.
I was really impressed with the way he spoke at the inauguration because it was important. And yes, I've had all the people in my comment section and in my social media going, this guy doesn't know the Constitution of Ireland. He doesn't understand what it takes to be the president, and that Conor would never be president because he has to get 20 votes from a sitting politician and all this garbage that is already very well known by everybody. These people are absolute losers and they take every opportunity to try get one up on you. It's pathetic. I had a guy come after me today about my Conor McGregor for president video, and he went on that rant about it's impossible, you don't know the Constitution, blah 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 blah, whatever. His profile pic was him, overweight slob soy piece of shit, standing next to Michael D. Higgins, the president of Ireland. Oh my god. Absolute soy personified, you absolute loser. You got blocked. You know why you got blocked? I'm not one of these guys who say, yeah, you get your free speech and you get to say all this stuff and then you expect me to come back and argue with you. I ain't arguing with you, bro. If this is the real world and you try one of them soy got you moments, you're gonna be on your ass picking up your teeth. That's what's gonna happen. It's the real world, man. We don't get to say whatever you want to say behind a Twitter handle, you fool. You got blocked. And if it was real life, you get knocked out. And that's it. So Conor went from the inauguration where he spoke very well to then progressively getting sweatier and redder in the face and out of breath. That led into the bare knuckle fiasco. He comes out on stage and I thought his speech was good. He was losing breath and there was blood vessels popping in the forehead. It is what it is. He's promoting the bare knuckle FC. I'm all for that. That's interesting. It led to a bunch of MMA media outlets coming after him going, Conor McGregor's fans are deeply concerned after this appearance. And they played a video and they talk about him being out of breath and him being red in the face and losing his mind. And of course along comes all the comments of, man, he's taking the best of stuff. He is rattled out of his brain on whatever substances he's taken. And that's probably true. We saw it with the Jake Paul and the Logan Paul stuff as well. He was up in their face. He was getting angry with them. He was telling them that they were a side job, which I think that Logan Paul came back with a very funny line going, you can't even do your main job.
Listen, here's the deal. I'm going to slap the head off the two of yous and KSI. No! Yous are mixers to me. You understand that? Side jobs. A little side job.
No, yeah. you can't even do your main job. How you can do a side job?
That was a good line, in fairness, but them two boys are two wrecks of yokes. I would have been happy if he slapped the head off him right there and then. And we had support coming in then from Nate Diaz. He was all about Conor getting up in their face because they talked a big talk, but when the rubber met the road, they just sat there like two bitches. I think Jake Paul was doing a bit more of a stoic head. He was trying to stay angry and all that type of stuff, but absolute losers. And you kind of go from the inauguration stuff and the political stuff to the bare knuckle thing and to the Logan Paul thing and to the, I think he did an interview with the Schmo as well. It was kind of incoherent. He was talking about, I'll just show up and fight one night for bare knuckle FC or whatever. It took him an hour to get that sentence out.
Yeah, if one of these days you just hear my music come onto the stage here in Bare Knuckle Fight Championship, and now I come and me fist wrapped with no gloves and I fight out of nowhere, no promo, no nothing, just fighting a random fight in a car. That could be where my future holds. And you know, legal, just making claims and all this bollocks. That's what pussies. That's what.
So it's a really weird dichotomous situation where we're at with Conor, where we want him to do so well. And we see him speaking so well and putting his best foot forward, and we're like, yes, especially when it pertains to the politics of Ireland, a country that he loves. Then we see him jumping over and he's doing interviews and he's doing speeches and he's red in the face and he looks out of breath and it's a bit incoherent, and we're just like trying to balance it out and be like, come on, man, come on, let's just get it together here. Let's get it together. Let's get into shape. Let's get back to where we used to be in terms of being sharp. And I think everybody just wants to see that now instead of all the gusto and all the wind. But The flip side of that coin is when he speaks about really important issues like he has done in the past, we see how the establishment have come after him because of that. It's invaluable. We need someone with a loud voice. And that's what people are banging on about in the comments. You really want this guy to be president? It's not about that. Like, it's about upsetting the system. It's about pushing back. We need someone with a loud voice to push back and speak for us, because the populace of Ireland are just cocked. The guys are walking around like pushing prams and drinking lattes with small mustaches and their ankles showing, talking about how Adeleke is an Irish hero and how climate change is right around the corner. Did you see what happened with the snow? Did you see what happened with the storm? It's like, come on. Your government are doing this shit on purpose. There's a reason why the roads weren't gridded. There's a reason why the footpaths weren't salted. It's to push an agenda. They're already talking about climate emergency lockdowns. Like, come on, use your eyes, wake up. So we need someone with a loud voice to speak, and that's what Conor did. And with the reshuffling musical chairs situation that's going on in the Irish government in the last couple of days, absolutely pathetic. I can't even watch it. Honestly, I feel like vomiting when you see these fools, these absolute soy-fueled fools walking around in government buildings talking as if they're legitimately politicians or as if they're legitimately smarter. I don't know. Like, these people are supposed to represent us and they're pathetic. So they reshuffled the new government and it was all arguments and everyone covered it in the news and everyone spoke about it and everyone complained about them for the last 4 years and then voted them all back in. So Conor McGregor put out a tweet and absolutely scorched Helen McEntee, who up until last week was the Minister for Justice. She's in control of the justice system of Ireland. Well, I've never heard of someone with a more brutal tenure than this woman. If you were to point out her high points as the Minister for Justice, what springs to mind would be during COVID there were 16,000 illegal migrants granted amnesty. Just, stay here, live here, make your money, do whatever you need to do here, commit your crimes here. And she got a widespread round of applause by not only her colleagues and her peers within government buildings and the media, which are just the long arm of the government, but also the populace, like I spoke about, the soy-filled populace, the guys that are on Twitter with he, him in their profiles and all that sort of freaky mentally ill shit. Them people applauded the fact that our justice minister allowed 16,000 criminals to stay. Second high point of her tenure as Minister for Justice was probably the hate speech bill. This was her pet project that she pushed and pushed and pushed. When assembly would happen and her peers would be not in favour of voting in this new hate speech bill, that was pretty much directed at us, the critical thinkers, the people that say, you know what, lobbing 200,000 foreign refugees into small village that don't have the facilities to cope with them is a terrible, brutal idea. She wanted the hate speech bill implemented to shut us down, so we were not allowed to say that because that's, of course, far right or something. In the education system, where most of these despotic totalitarians do their best work, getting into the minds of young children, into that malleable mind when they're young, and filling it with 72 genders. Climate change is happening next year, so you got to be prepared for it. And also, let's accept every brown person in and treat them better. We also have to learn about how we are oppressors. So the school system was used as this awesome tool, and the hate speech bill was implemented to stop people saying that there's not 72 genders, it's just a man and a woman. Those were her high points, as well as crime rates going through the roof in every major city and every small town across Ireland. Really, if we were living in a just world, she wouldn't be promoted, she wouldn't be offered another job, she'd be held accountable for her decisions, she should have been sacked, investigated, and when you hear what's going on in the background with this woman, you're like, oh my God. Conflict of interest, basic criminality. So Helen McEntee, the former Minister for Justice, now the new current Minister for Education, she's going to bring in all the same rhetoric, double and triple down with the 72 genders, climate crisis right around the corner, migrants are our greatest strength, all that type of stuff. So in terms of the critical thinker in Ireland who has children in the school system and in that curriculum, you really, really need to listen to Conor McGregor this week because he went in on her. So Conor McGregor put forth multiple tweets cautioning the people of Ireland against letting McEntee be selected as the Minister for Health or Education, because that's what they were talking about a couple of days ago. As it transpires, she's the Minister for Education. She's going to be in charge of what your kids learn. She has literally spent the last 4 years trying to put Irish people into prison for saying that there's not 73 genders and for saying that diversity isn't our strength and for saying that, you know what, could we possibly as a country, as a very small small country who just got independence recently? Could we possibly look after our own people? Oh, no, you can't do that. You got to go to prison because of the new hate speech bill, because who are you directing that vitriol at? Is that at a foreign person? Oh my God, you vile piece of shit. So she wanted that hate speech bill pushed through so bad. She didn't get her own way, but you know what? Now she can start burrowing into the minds of your young kids with more and more of this identity, woke, far left-leaning garbage. Absolutely disgusting. So Conor's out and he's talking shit and he's pulling her up on her real sinister, pernicious, dodgy past. Helen McEntee should not be appointed Minister for Health. The role of Minister for Health is to prioritise the public health and ensure decisions are made in the best interest of the people from outside influences. However, that's a clear conflict of interest in appointing Helen McEntee to this critical position. Nor should she be Minister for Education. Protect the children. So Conor explained that AbbVie is one of the world's largest manufacturers of puberty blockers, the drugs that are used to slow, in some cases, and stop sexual development in children who are transitioning to another gender. McGregor also indicated that AbbVie was under investigation in Texas for its manufacturing and promoting of drugs like Lupron, which some deem extremely damaging to vulnerable children. So you ask the question, who exactly is AbbVie? What is this pertaining to that Conor is talking about? So the Minister for Education, formerly the Minister for Justice, Helen McEntee's husband, Paul Hickey, is a senior executive at the pharmaceutical firm AbbVie, where he serves as a director of market access. AbbVie is one of the world's largest manufacturer of so-called puberty blockers. And in 2019, that company had $892 million worth of sales. So very interesting. So Helen McEntee, the former Minister for Justice's husband, who is making some serious grade out of pushing these puberty blockers on children, is also under investigation in Texas as they demand that drug companies turn over their documents on puberty blocking drugs for children. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton said that I will not allow Big Pharma to be misleading and promote these drugs that may pose as a high risk and serious physical and psychological damage to Texas children who cannot yet fathom or consent to the potential long-term effects of the use of such drugs, he said in a statement. So they're under investigation. So the person who has had a vendetta against the Irish people for the last 4 years and wanted to push forward this hate speech bill that would have you end up in prison if you disagreed with puberty blockers for young children is Helen McEntee. Her husband is bringing in 800-900 million per year, selling these disgusting drugs to children. And she's there, of course, to bolster the idea that this is beautiful and it's life-saving treatment for children. Is that not a conflict of interest? Is that not a really strange situation? Is there anyone who drinks a soy latte in Ireland going to talk about it? Or is it just going to be the far right that talk about it? So Conor detailed how our new Minister for Education's husband was under investigation in Texas for destroying the mind of young people and pushing these disgusting drugs. And of course, you can only join the dots in terms of this back and forth between Helen McEntee and Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor starts speaking these sort of truths, starts going down like critical thinkers, rabbit holes, and all of a sudden we have Helen McEntee coming out making huge pronouncements about the Conor McGregor civil court case with Nikita Han. She's giving her voice and support as Minister for Justice. It's like, are you for real? You decided to come out and voice your opinion in the Conor McGregor civil court case? You're the Minister for Justice. Your Director of Public Prosecutions declined to take on the case. But you came out and you weighed in because it was Conor McGregor and he was doing a little bit too much research into you and your husband. As I said, when the far right talk about it on social media, it's easy to disregard what they say because they're the far right. But when Conor says it with that really loud voice, that's a problem. And you got to come out and you got to speak on that straight away, right? So many people have done great work doing the research, following the money, because that's what it's all about with these people. And they're selling out the Irish people on purpose. They're evil. They hate us. They do not care about us. They're just ruling us and filling their pockets. And the idea of someone with 10 million followers on social media like Conor McGregor talking out about it terrifies them, and that's why they're going to come after him. And as I said at the beginning, we're in a situation where we have Conor doing this really important work going after these disgusting people, and on the flip side of that, he does what he does outside of it in terms of partying, being erratic. Wouldn't it be great if we just found a little bit of balance in the middle there? Wouldn't it be great if we just found that little bit of balance? Because the amount of soy-generated social media, he, him, they, them type freaks would be triggered so hard. So yeah, let me know your thoughts down below. Maybe hit like, subscribe and share, or maybe pop over to the Patreon and help the channel out over there, and we'll keep the show on the road. I appreciate you. Cheers. I want to share my new Patreon. Any support is welcome over there. Keeps the show on the road and I'd really appreciate it. Cheers.